What's up, millionaires? Mitch here. I just wanted to take a quick second and kind of share what it takes to become an overnight success. Now, I gotta apologize about my voice. This weekend I went to a networking event on multifamily investing up in Tampa, Florida, and for the last 3 days met so many incredible people, and I kind of feel like maybe some of them may have got the wrong impression of me. And also, over the last few years, I've had a few messages come through on Facebook and Instagram telling me it must be nice, must be nice to have it so easy. And I just kind of want to share what that journey's been like. Now, I have a few books here. One of them is actually where I want to start, and this is Think and Grow Rich. Now, the version that I had was a little smaller when I was overseas in Afghanistan, and I was working 84 hours a week, going to school full time, trying to figure out what it would take for me to not have to live that lifestyle anymore, to not have to be overseas away from my family, to be able to take a day off. Now, I went, when I was in Iraq, I did an Ironman tour. I was there for 365 days straight. Never went home for a year. When I was in Afghanistan, I stayed over in Kuwait and Afghanistan for about 15 months before coming back home. That 13 months, went home, bought a property, and went back. Now, really what I want to share with you is some of these challenges that I had along the way so that you can kind of get a better picture of if you're going through some of these challenges, just you have to persevere and why it's worth it in the end. Now, for those of you that don't know, when I got back from Afghanistan, I ended up starting a company. It was a moving company. And that moving company, I had a big goal of turning that business into this 10 locations in 10 years was the goal. And it started off in the first few years. I worked, again, just like when I was in the military. I was putting in 80 to 90 hours a week and then driving home. And when I got home, I would jump on the computer to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, replying to emails, doing my books, just all these challenges. And if you've ever felt like there just wasn't enough hours in the day, imagine running a business and having employees that you're responsible for, that if there isn't business, you can't pay them. And that was one of the big challenges. So it meant that I had to work a lot, and I carried that weight. And I wore that badge of honor, being a military person. For anyone out there that's been in the military, they can relate to that, doing whatever it takes to accomplish the mission. But the biggest challenge that I had was about halfway through owning this company, about 2.5 years ago, we took on a big contract with another business that was the business was aligned, their goals were aligned with our goals, and slowly they stopped paying the invoices. We had an agreement in the beginning that we would do the work, and every couple of weeks they would make payments, and it was a red flag. But I also knew that if we stopped doing the work, they would never be able to pay us ever, so we continued to push through. And it was around December when we found out that they had no intentions of ever paying us. Now, for the last few years, we were building this business, and I was already working, like I said, hundreds of hours, and just putting in all that extra time. So working throughout the day, and then going home and working more, and just leaving everything on the table. I was exhausted. And it got to a point, and so we started building this location for them, and they never paid. And at first I thought, okay, well, I'm sure they'll make payments. Maybe we can come up with a reasonable solution. But they had no intention of ever paying. Imagine being in a business and having 16, 20 employees and running out of money. A lot of people didn't know that happened to my business. It actually happened to my business twice. One time when we hired a marketing company to take over our business and our website, and they shut it down, and we paid for advertisement. And that was why I started doing digital marketing and starting a company for building websites and doing advertisements, and became very strategic at marketing. But the second time was when we had the construction side of the business and we never got paid for the work. So in my mind I thought, okay, well, the year's about to end. Maybe I just give up. Maybe I just quit. It'd be so much easier just to say, you know what, we gave it a shot. And then it started to snow. So I went out and I worked straight through the night, 24 hours, and then into the next day for another 10 hours. And at the end of the night, the only thing that ended that night was when, after about 36, 37 hours of plowing snow, I was pushing a snowbank and the truck got stuck into a ditch, and then I ended up just going home. I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I was out of money in the company, and the truck was stuck in the snowbank, and I thought about quitting. And at that moment in time, I just didn't really know what to do. So I went home, woke up the next morning, and I made some difficult decisions. I had some difficult conversations with my team, and there was one person on my team that said, no, we have a good thing here. We should keep going with this. We can rebuild. Just because one business didn't pay us doesn't mean it's the end of the world. But he didn't know about the financial strap that we had. But I agreed to keep pushing forward, thanks to, again, an incredible friend. And a couple weeks later, it was like the world came down on me again because we got audited for our workman's comp. Now, all those extra hours that we were spending doing this project for this business hit us again with another $30,000 bill. So even though we were already broke, in the middle of winter, where our jobs and business tends to slow down, we got hit with another $30,000 workman's comp bill. My savings was already drawn. I started tapping into my credit cards like a lot of entrepreneurs do. And I remember thinking, like, the only thing that I have, like, that I could actually get any kind of money to even be able to put a dent in this is selling my vehicle. And I love that vehicle. You know, it was what we started the business with. It was a Toyota FJ, and I had the Army Grunts G-Star on the hood, and I just loved it. And I remember going out to the garage, like when I got this bill, and starting to like pull the vinyls off the car, and I'm just like literally like breaking down, like in tears, like as I'm peeling off these vinyls. And I drove 3 hours down to the bottom of the state to sell this vehicle. And when I got down there, even though I already called them, I sent pictures and everything, they told me that they wouldn't buy the vehicle, but they'd be happy to sell me another vehicle if I needed to, you know, like a car kind of thing. And I'm like, we went through all these conversations over the phone. I sent all the pictures. I gave them the VIN. I gave them the mileage, and they just it was a way for them to get people in the door to purchase vehicles. And I was so frustrated. I'm driving home, and again, I felt like nothing was gonna break this logjam free. So if you've ever been in your business and you're working so many hours and you're stuck and you feel like everything's weighing on your shoulders and you're ready to quit, well, believe me, I know exactly what that feels like. So I'm driving home and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, if there was another way, what would that way be? I'm not saying there is another way, but if there was another way. And I remember pulling off the highway, stopping at one more dealership, walking in, and they actually ended up giving me a couple $1,000s more than what the dealership that I just drove 3 hours to was planning on, or told me they would give me. So I was out of money. I had a $30,000 workman's comp bill that I had to pay. Had payroll for my employees. I had to sell my vehicle. And I was working, 100 hours a week trying to just dig out of this. And this is when I realized that there was no way possible for me to give any more. And I share this story with a lot of people I talk to in business when I'm coaching them, is if you're already working 24 hours in a day, like there's no way for you to work more hours. You have to figure out how to build teams. And that's what I did. I started focusing on building teams, people that could help me get out of this. I started networking, getting purposeful in networking. And that's why I became this, expert networker, is expert at finding incredible talent, and an expert at helping other businesses find talent for their company. Because at that moment in time, there was no way possible for me to rebuild the business. It was empty. It was drawn. It was either shut down or figure something out. And when I realized that the only way to get more hours of work done in a day was to build a stronger team and get purposeful on that, I created the vision. I went back and I drew out the concept on what I wanted to do with the business. And I had to get rid of the construction side of our business, which was about $500,000 a year. We just chopped that whole side of the business out. And we got rid of the snow plowing. And we got rid of the landscaping. And we just got focused on the two things that were scalable. And we built the teams, focused on just doing those specialty tasks. And within a year, we expanded into 2 more locations. And then things started to recover. But again, this isn't something that I did. It was just we changed our focus. So if you're doing something right now and it's not working for you, maybe it's time for you to try something new. Maybe it's time for you to just shift your focus. Are you doing everything yourself right now? Are you the expert, or can you hire experts? And again, after a few more months, after about a year, a couple months later, we got an offer to sell the company because the process were that streamlined in the business. And there's a lot of upside in the business after we got focused. So I sold the company. I took the chance to sell the company and invest more in real estate. But really the message I want to share with you is that it's not easy being in business, and you're going to have hiccups and hurdles along the way, and you're going to feel like you want to quit. But if you are passionate about your business and you believe that you can actually break through and get these accomplishments, which is possible, I help businesses all around the country now implement these procedures in their business, and again, I'm sure they're probably thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, it's tough right now, but when you have the strategy, an actual strategy that you can follow, it makes it so much easier. Now, the Millionaire Business Mindset I launched after selling my business, and this book shares a lot of the strategies along the way that I figured out on my own. And I will honestly admit it doesn't tell you exactly how. And I know a lot of people out there are looking for, how do I do this? Well, the Millionaire Business Mindset will teach you how to find the direction that you want to go in. It'll teach you how to solve problems and how solving that problem will create $1 million feeling inside you. But it won't show you exactly how to build the teams. Now for that, if that's where you're at on your journey and you're stuck and you're working so many hours in your business and you're looking for a way to break free from this 100-hour work week, or even if you're just starting a business and you have so many tasks on your plate, well, for that I created the How to Build Your $1 Million Team course, because that was the only way for me to break free from that that sinking ship that I was on. And if I never figured that out, then I never would have been able to become a 3-time best-selling author by using teams. I used teams to help accomplish all these things. I used a graphic designer. I'm not a graphic designer. I used an editor and formatter. I used Chris Kelly's incredible skills that he's developed over the years and helped me with real estate. And we co-authored this book. So people that I met through networking and the exact strategies that I put inside the How to Build Your $1 Million course literally helped me do all these things. So again, I just want to share with you that what it takes to become an overnight success is a lot of trials and a lot of relentless progress and a lot of focus. So yeah, that's the journey. If you're on this journey and you're growing a business, don't do it the hard way. Start building teams, start networking with people that you can bring into your bigger vision, and invest in yourself, right? Take time to learn. I mean, these books are fairly cheap, but they're going to give you strategies. And if you have the strategies, and all you have to do is take action. So, yeah, that's all you have to do to become an overnight success. All right, thanks.